biggest things new designers struggle with is finding their own style and make design that truly feel like them. There's so many different ways to do design. Do you go minimalistic or bold, neutral or bright? And what if you want to do both? Starting a journey to find your own path can be overwhelming and it takes time. After more than 5 years as a designer, I finally found my style and I want to share with you how you can do that too. Hopefully a little sooner than that. Ciao besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Viviana, and if you're new here, I'm a brand designer and this channel is all about design tips and tricks and how to take your skills to the next level. Today, we're discussing probably one of the biggest questions that every designer has asked themselves at least once in their design career. What is my design style and how do I find it? Finding the answer isn't exactly something that you can do in the blink of an eye. It often takes a long time, even in years, especially if you don't know where to start. But this is where we're here today. I've been a designer for years and I feel like I found my style only in the last 12 months or so. Going through this process myself, I found some tips along the way that have helped me through this treacherous journey, and I'm so excited to share them with you today. But before jumping to tip number 1, if you find value in this video, make sure to show your support and leave a like. It really helps the channel, so thank you if you do that. Alright, let's go. The first thing to do if you're starting from zero is design. A lot. Trying different things and different styles is a great way to explore and get a general idea of what you like and what you don't like doing. Because most of the times, your decision is going to be based on that. Not what you can do, but what you want to do. Take me for an example. I'm not really known for minimalistic, simple logos, but that doesn't mean that I'm not capable of doing them. I have in the past. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoy making bold, colorful logos. That is my specialty now. So if you don't know what you like doing it, try everything. Passion projects are an amazing way to do this. If you don't know what they are, basically passion projects are made-up projects. You can come up with a business, a name, the assets that they need, anything, and then design it. It's a very smart way to practice, but also add projects to your portfolio if you don't have any clients. But again, if you're still trying to find your style, you might not even know what kind of clients to look for just yet. And that's when already made briefs come in handy. And where do you find such briefs? Instagram is full of them nowadays. Every week or month, some designers come up with briefs that other designers can use to create an entire project. Most of the times, you will have a business name, a short description, and deliverables. There are so many of these challenges. I host one myself. It's called the Creative Besties. You are more than welcome to join a community there. I care so much about this because in my experience, it was the key to finding my style. When I first started, I set a goal for myself to make one passion project per week. And every week, I would try to do something that I'd never done before. It could have been using a font, a color palette, doing illustration, or an entirely different style. Every week, I would ask myself, what is one thing that I've never attempted before? And I would do that. Of course, not all projects were successful, but at least I knew that that wasn't for me or that I needed a little bit more practice. And you don't even have to post any of these projects if you don't want to. They are for you to explore and learn, so don't feel pressured to do that. One big mistake that I see new designers make is not push themselves. If you stay in your comfort zone and you're still not satisfied, then maybe it's time to step out of it and see what else is out there. Once you've done that for a while, you will have a lot of projects under your belt, which is always great, but you will also be able to take a step back and analyze your work. And that brings me to tip number 2. Take a look at all your past work and try to figure out the thing that you enjoyed making the most. Or you can even analyze each project and say, for example, I like the color palette that I used for this project, but not the font. Something like that. Of course, this doesn't have to be too analytical. Sometimes we do things because we feel like it, and that's it. That's the beauty of art. But this should give you a pretty good idea of what direction to go to and explore. The next thing to do during this analysis of your work is tip number 3. Figure out your strength. Go through your process and try to identify the thing that you want to be known for, the thing that can set you apart from the rest and make you stand out. It honestly could be anything: your illustration style, the way you use color or typography, or even the kind of businesses that you want to work with. Your style is likely to appeal to a specific target of people who will be on the same wavelength as you. The ideal scenario here is to attract people who want to work with you for your unique style and perspective. So a good way to make this process easier for potential clients is to show them exactly who you are and what you can do through these key elements. Again, I'm not talking about a specific color palette or aesthetic that you have to use in every project. Your style could even be a skill. I like to think that all of my projects look different from each other, but what makes it unique to me is the type manipulation and and the use of color. If you think that you're good at something and that you can offer value in a new or different way, use that to impress people, and they will not forget about you. Tip number 4 is a very underrated one that I think a lot of people take for granted. Inspiration can come from anywhere, not just other design. If your only way of getting inspiration is your Instagram feed or Pinterest, you might be making things worse, not better. Let me explain. First of all, you're comparing yourself to others, which isn't always the best, especially if you struggle with imposter syndrome. Being constantly exposed to someone else's work and only that can give you a narrow idea of what design is and what you should be doing. Instead of doing what other people are doing, try to do the same thing but in your own way. Put your own spin to it, your own perspective. Something might work for someone, but it doesn't necessarily have to work for you too. Also, and I've seen this happen a lot too, there's a risk that you'll end up accidentally copying someone else's work. Now, it goes without saying that at this point in time, there's so much design work out there that it's pretty impossible to do something that is 100% original. That's not what I'm saying. What I mean is that you're gonna keep going around in circles if you look at design in just one way. A big part of finding your design style is figuring out a way to pull inspiration from different things and use them in your work. It can come from anywhere: nature, fashion, architecture, interior design, makeup, anything. And that's what my 5th and last tip is all about. Find what makes you you and bring it into your designs. I know that it's kind of an existential question and that it's easier said than done, so I'm gonna give you an example. Someone who I feel like truly embraces who they are in everything that they do is a designer called Danny Daisy. She describes herself as a maximal interior, fashion, and print designer, and that's exactly who she is. If you look at her work, you can tell that it was made by her, whether it's a dress or a bedroom. I got to know her work recently. She renovated a motel and the whole process was documented in a TV show. I swear, every week I was stunned by her creativity and her vision. It's insane. She knows exactly who she is. She knows her references, she knows her colors, her shapes, and she brings all of that into something that is unique to her. That is the goal basically. But of course it's a lot to aspire to, especially at the beginning. I don't want to intimidate you. That was just an example of how you can bring who you are into what you do. We are all different people with different backgrounds and different references. Your design style should be the culmination of all of that. Because at the end of the day, if you do something just for the sake of it, people will see right through that. This applies to anything, but especially in the creative field. A creator that is passionate about what they do will show that in their work too. Their personality will shine through their designs. Personally, I love seeing the face behind the design because most of the times it matches exactly the kind of work that they do. Look at me, would you ever think that I do minimalistic logos? Now again, I don't want you to have an existential crisis while trying to figure this out. Most of the times, like in my case, it just happens naturally and after a while. So don't stress too much about this. After designing for a while, you will take a step back, look at all your work and see that there's a pattern, and that's when you realize that's it. That's my style, at least for now. As designers, we are constantly growing and getting inspired from different things. So just because you like doing something now, it doesn't mean that you have to do it forever. You shouldn't really put yourself in a box. Where's the fun in that? At the end of the day, if people like what you do and want to work with you for it, doesn't really matter what you call your style, you know? Having a general idea of the kind of design that you want to do is very important for a designer, but you shouldn't let it define you or limit you. So stop putting too much pressure on yourself. Okay? Alright, so these were the tips that have helped me through this process over the years. I hope they can help you too. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more content like this, you can like the video first of all and subscribe to the channel. I post videos every week, all types of videos, design videos, brand design videos, strategy videos, a lot of stuff. I'm on all social media, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. I post stories on my Instagram every day. That's where I post all of my work and I update you on these videos. So if you want to know a little bit more, which I think you want to do because there's some exciting things coming that I can't talk about just yet, but you want to stay updated, trust me. So we've talked about how much your design style can evolve through the years. And actually you can see that in this video right here where I redesigned a logo that I made in 2019. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again in another video next week. Ciao!